Earth is like one of those uncontacted tribes in South America. Like the whole galaxy knows we're here, but they've agreed not to contact us until we figure it out for ourselves. Story 1. What if aliens showed up here millions of years ago, saw a planet inhabited by enormous lizard monsters, and said that, "Don't come back to this place"? Story 2. What if the people that were abducted by aliens were actually abducted by some alien TV host equivalent of the Crocodile Hunter, where he abducts a human and shows it off? Crikey, what an interesting little fella this is. Story 3. That's actually one of many theories about SETI and alien life, that they're so far ahead of us on the Kardashev scale that for them to try to communicate with us would be like us trying to communicate with ants, or amoebas. Story 4. That's already a theory. Edit, because I'm getting messages and comments about this. I wasn't trying to belittle the guy or say this in a manner that implies I didn't want him to post this here. I just thought that maybe he didn't know this concept already existed, as I've done this with other ideas and would like to know. Story 5. We are probably more like the Sentinelese from the North Sentinel Island, part of the Andaman Island archipelago in Indian Ocean. They are widely considered as one of the most aggressive uncontacted tribe, very much hostile towards outsiders, though some would disagree. The Indian government declared the remote island officially off limits. Story 6. If that's true, we probably killed some of them at one point. Most uncontacted tribes have also killed some of the past people who tried to contact them. Story 7. What if we're actually a part of a very huge being? And to that huge being, it's like when we look at our own cells through a microscope, and that's just one being, there could be millions of huge beings. Story 8. Most of those tribes remain uncontacted mostly because of concerns regarding introducing new diseases to them and because of the lack of the means for proper communication. I doubt these kind of issues would exist when it would come to aliens. Story 9. It is safe to say any aliens that exist can only see us through a telescope kind of device. They can't visit us. A light year is no joke, and the rules of physics, chemistry and biology is going to be the same for anywhere else. The distance is just too much to make visiting a planet outside our system and theirs for them to be worth the energy and time it would cost. Even if you built a rocket that travels through space at Mach 10, you still won't get past 0.001 of a light year. There are at least 4 light years between us and the next closest system. A light year is no joke. Story 10. Depends. If there was an advanced society or many and they had a hands-off policy with Earth, likely the only way they'd actually be able to enforce it would be if their governing bodies had total control over their spaceflight operations. Which is conceivable, to a point, but as soon as you introduce the possibility of private ownership of spacecraft manned or otherwise in operations, it truly only takes that one dude looking for space Reddit karma to it all up. Story 11. Space is practically infinite. Light is a hard limit, and even if you find ways to get out there at a comfortable speed, spacefaring cultures will spark, bloom, ebb, and die in the time you travel an infinitesimally small fraction of the distance from us or our sci-fi lightspeed limit, avoiding exit to them, and wealth I'll never cross paths. Individual ants placed at random points in the Sahara. What are the odds they will meet before they die? Story 12. This entirely depends on if faster-than-light travel is common. If light speed was the fastest one could go, then it'd take hundreds of years between contacts, maybe thousands of years. If getting up to close to light speed was impossible, it'd be tens of thousands of years. Story 13. I think we're more like the folk out on the Sentinel Islands. They know we're here, but every time someone tries to talk to us we take potshots at them, so the whole planet is officially off limits. Story 14. Then we probably will be contacted first by the extremist aliens who will give us the hard sell that their belief system is the best and that all we believe is a lie, and we will do something violent in response, etc., etc. Eventually we all end up enslaved or die of an illness our immune systems cannot handle. Story 15. Read the 3 Body Problem trilogy, then be glad they haven't contacted us yet. TLDR, anyone out there capable of understanding that we're here ought to be smart enough to know that we're also potentially dangerous to them, so they're better off killing us rather than contacting us. And vice versa, except no, we're human, so let's just tell everyone, hey guys, here we are. Story 16. There is the former leader of Israel's space program who said that, he also said that the US and Israel have a base with aliens on Mars, and they said we are not allowed to know yet. Story 17. One of the greatest flukes in evolution is when one cell ate another cell but didn't digest it. This allowed the one inside to focus entirely on creating energy, allowing the main cell to focus on other things. This gave life the ability to deform multicellular organisms, inevitably creating complex fauna. So it's also a belief that even if there are countless planets teeming with life right here in our own galaxy, none of them have advanced to complex organisms. Story 18. Welp, you have it at least half figured out. Truth is, we have been receiving all of those old video transmission. I am told they are called movies wherein your people tend to dissect and kill all aliens that land on your planet. When they start seeing you greet visitors with respect, maybe something interesting will happen. Story 19. Jesus Christ, who is gilding all these comments. XD, Merry Christmas guys, and an especially Merry Christmas to the mystery awarder. Edit, thank you so much, Merry Christmas anonymous awarder. Story 20. Well, yeah, this was already discovered, don't you remember? We were banned from the Federation of Planets because we tried to kill Baby Farts McGeezak and hid all of the stolen space cash from the space cops, so now we're barred from any future alien contact. Story 21. E&M. Banks referred to this as the outside context problem. You're an island civilization that's lived on that island alone for thousands of years, and your tiny achievements seem like monumental history. You've sent out canoes a few days sailing to see if there are other islands, but they found nothing, so the priesthood concluded the island is the world and your 15,000 people are humankind. Then a boat 10 times taller than your tallest building crests the horizon, people in shiny metal armor hop onto your shores, and suddenly everything means nothing. Story 22. It's more like we are a fruit, and once we are ripe enough as seen by advances in technology, the entities will return to harvest the useful energy aka the souls they want which somehow benefits them. They may be harvesters. Story 23. There's a few theories about this, but one of my favorite if saddening theories is that alien civilization is so far advanced from us that they seem us unworthy of introducing themselves and or interacting with society, perhaps only observing like scientists might observe and study ants. Story 24. That's the prime directive from Star Trek, the most important rule about our exploration of the galaxy. Story 25. Similar to the plot of 2001, aliens seeded the galaxy with monoliths to spur development of intelligence, but mainly to watch and see if any developed because they couldn't return to check on every planet. They wouldn't contact us until we met certain conditions. Story 26. This actually makes a lot of sense. Most humans are superstitious idiots who think that there is a magic mind-reading omniscient invisible dictator that grants wishes and punishes people for the thought crime and eternal hellfire of not believing in him. These primitive dipshits clearly don't know there from their elbow. How in the did they figure out how to fly and split atoms? That's a really dangerous combination. I would take one look at Earth and declare that just a big bag of stupid that should just be left alone. Probably not much of a future there. Story 27. More like those people on North Sentinel Island in the Indian Ocean. We know that they're there, and extremely violent, so we've chosen to give them their space and privacy. I could easily imagine some meeting in a galactic council circa 1950, they finally found the power of splitting atoms, but use it to build bombs to kill each other, and now they're having a race about who can build the most and biggest of these things. Maybe it is best not to have any contact with these psychos. Story 28. I believe that aliens have been in consistent contact with the Earth for millions of years. They're just more interested in interacting with fungus than they are with us. This whole business with us being so obsessed with space travel is actually the doing of a fungal parasite that's trying to get into outer space, kind of like how cordyceps will manipulate ants. Story 29. I guess most people choose to ignore or live in denial with regards to the basic laws of physics. Most of what we can see in the universe is probably already dead and decaying, since the light from those stars takes millions or even billions for the farthest reaches of the universe of years to reach us. We're literally looking at times gone by. We need to understand that there are a huge number of accidents that had to happen for life to evolve on Earth as it has, and the probability of the same accidents occurring in a similarly hospitable planet in the same sequence are infinitesimally small, tending to zero. Put these two factors together, and even if intelligent life exists, it won't ever reach us. When they look through their telescopes, they'll see the version of Earth that exists depending on their distance from us. Nothing has and ever will defeat the laws of science. We are well and truly alone. Story 30. FYI, even if you could listen to Earth's very first radio broadcasts, to date, traveling at the speed of light, they still have about 400 years to go before they will reach one of the Milky Way galaxy. Story 31. This actually makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe it goes even further. They don't wish to share space with other civilizations, so they manipulate the way we perceive the universe. Judging by the Fermi paradox, there should be many inhabited planets, but they have a way of cloaking their transmission so we don't see them. Maybe the speed of light isn't the hard limit we perceive it to be, but they are messing up our perception, making interstellar travel appear impossible or at least insanely difficult. In this way, we get demoralized and stay within our own planet, or within our own solar system at best. It could explain why we see anomalies in the way stars orbit the central point of their galaxy, necessitating the input of an unseen element like dark matter to explain this. It might also explain why experiments such as the double-slit quantum eraser experiment end up with such freakish results. Story 32. Actually, a lot of scientists think that this is the case. A technological advanced civilization may know that contacting us may cause trouble, so they just leave us be until we figure out that we are not alone. Quite wholesome if you ask me. Story 33. This is pretty much the point of the Prime Directive in Star Trek. We're a pre-warp civilization, so we are to be left alone for now. When Zephram Cochrane discovers the warp drive in 2063 though, that's when the fun begins and we get welcomed into the interstellar community. I for one look forward to meeting the Vulcans pretty long time until the Khitomer Accords makes us friends with the Klingon though, but one thing at a time. Story 34. If you were an intelligent race of beings, would you want to interact with us? Would either shoot at them or try to capture and torture them, and in the off chance we actually tried to befriend them, some government or world organization would try and speak for the entire planet and manipulate the situation in their favor. Story 35. I seriously believe there are a few alien races capable of spaceflight between worlds Mass Effect style and the watch our development and record it and make documentaries about US Discovery Channel style, narrated by an alien equivalent of Morgan Freeman. Story 36. What if we are more like an ant colony? The aliens are here, wander around as visible or invisible entities in and around our world, but we are all collectively unaware and ignorant of their presence because we don't have the mental capacity to understand who or what they are. The exact same situation as a colony of ants on the sidewalk that we walk over and ignore because they are unimportant to us, and they equally ignore us because they don't understand what we are. Story 37. This is actually one of the hypothetical answers to the Fermi paradox. Basically, the reason we can't find any contact with intelligent life is because we're essentially in a preserve zoo. Story 38. They probably think we're too violent. They know if they get too close, we'll probably start shooting at them. I can picture them locking their spaceship doors as they fly by our solar system. Story 39. Any sufficiently technologically advanced alien civilizations would have moved beyond using the resources of their host planet, either because they've depleted their resources or because it's more financially advantageous energy efficient to gather energy from their host star. And if they had the power to travel or communicate across light years to other stars, they would be at a point where the colossal energy collectors or swarms of energy collectors, space habitations, or ships would have made some kind of dent in the fraction of light, or the wavelengths that pass through towards us. TLDR, we don't see stars dimming from the giant solar collectors of advanced species. Story 40. Who TF would want to contact us? We're skittish, paranoid, and prone to extreme acts of violence. And that's just against other humans. Alien life would be way too much for us to handle. Think of how all the religious nutjobs and fundamentalists would react. ID keep far away from us too. Unless we have something they desperately need, it wouldn't be worth the risk. Story 41. Most humans don't think this way, but World War II was a tribal wars, so we're just coming out of having tribes. In major conflicts, we have weird tribes like Jews, Muslims, etc. that are based on literal insanity. All countries are based on tribes. We do not have a universal language. If for some reason electronic communication was destroyed, the Earth would be right back to being a sectioned-off tribes. In addition, due to the defense of a bizarre religion like Judaism, you can't say anything about it, even if you're an atheist. I think many humans are psychotic, meaning insane, and living in a fantasy world. So humans may be like inbred hillbillies from some movie that think they are normal, but are crazy. If you look at many of the most defended types of people, they are really bizarre, and humans will defend very strange and negative behavior as positive. So, imagine if most aliens are actually rational and practical logical thinker, and see Earth. It may take us hundreds of thousands of years to straighten things out. If humans as a majority are genetically insane, that will probably never change. Story 42. That's pretty much right, but not really. They have contacted a few people. Obviously, it's more than you think, but the reason they don't just beam down and say hello is because that would interfere with the first rule of humanity, our free will. Story 43. Yeah, I wonder that also, if convenient inter-system travel is physically possible, alien races would have access to so many planets, so much raw resources, that there's basically nothing physical we could offer them. The only thing humanity really has that has value, other than the unique life forms that live alongside it, is its own unique cultures and history, and that uniqueness would be worth protecting. There are countless planets in the universe, but only one with humans, so the human one should stay being just the human one. Story 44. What about the dark forest theory? Every planet keeps quiet, not wanted to be discovered in case the other species is not peaceful. Imagine if it was Earth, we would totally destroy and exploit a civilization that was more primitive than us. Why would we think others would be nice if things were reversed? Story 45. All other life forms in the universe are looking at us baffled, but yet amazed at how we're learning to understand things, and in their minds it's like watching a chimp pick up a rock and crack open nuts with it. Story 46. It's probably the safest thing to do. If aliens were to make themselves known to us, even if they didn't come here, it would change the course of our worldwide culture. It would probably destroy us as we are now. Story 47. I mean, this is exactly one of the leading theories on alien life forms. If they are advanced enough to get here and whatnot, then they probably don't care. They'd look at us as we look at ants, sort of like that's cool, incinerate a couple and then keep moving. Story 48. What's crazy is that, if your theory is correct, it would be mostly the developed world that aliens would be familiar with, so the uncontacted tribes you mentioned would still be unknown to the galaxy. Story 49. This concept is the focal point in Year Zero by Rob Reed. The rest of the universe has hit the 4 criteria to become modern and get access to advanced tech, which they all share. They put up a barrier so no one could access Earth. Super funny book. For example, their tech allows life for thousands of years. Some alien government employees with pensions are loving life. Super good read, and hilarious. Story 50. More like they do not want to contact us because we will kill them as outsiders, like the tribe did to that Christian minister. WTF was he thinking anyway? Story 51. Or like how when fish get caught. To us we're just fishing, but to them, they just saw their friend get absolutely sent up into the sky and never come back. What if we are just fish in the aliens' lake and that's why people are abducted? Story 52. Not to sound nuts, but this is a very realistic theory. There is a very possible chance that other life forms know we exist but are simply observing us. If you subscribe to science and reality, then you should be able to accept the fact that it's very possible for another being to have developed far greater technology than us and be able to see us. Story 53. This made me think of the uncontacted tribe that throws spears at planes and boats that get too close. Aliens would avoid us for similar reasons. The surest sign that intelligent life exists elsewhere in the universe is that it has never tried to contact us. Story 54. That would be nice. Sadly, the chance they exist are developed yet, able to notice us, care or think in any way we would consider as such a slim heck. Aliens could be a massive tree-like colony whose thoughts take a few hundred years and so far away that even if they could see us, they wouldn't see anything but dinosaurs, or nothing at all. Story 55. It's pretty much a guarantee that there are aliens out there. The universe is vast beyond measure. Even our little galaxy is incredibly vast, and it is highly likely there are aliens in our galaxy due to the laws of probability. Sadly, as faster than light speed travel is impossible, we'll never meet any. We'll never really get beyond our solar system, and if we ever do manage to make contact, it'll be some clumsy signal that takes at least thousands of years to reach anywhere else, and would have to be incredibly lucky to reach another civilization at a time of their development that they could receive it. Story 56. My guess is they've simply deemed our planet devoid of intelligent life. We really don't deserve our place in the world. All we've really done is fight each other and completely destroy our own planet. Aliens would take one look at us and see us as nothing more than a bunch of apes who can't stop flinging at each other long enough to figure out our problems. Story 57. I bet the aliens will contact us in the same century when we stop destroying our own home planet Earth and come up with ways to conserve or repair the damage we have done to it just in a few centuries. Example, you see a person who is destroying a house with a car, a house you know to be their own house. And they are screaming, "It's my God-given right to destroy it." Would you go say hello? You'll nope out of there fast and let them be. Us humans are the worst thing that has happened to this planet and ourselves. We will be extinct or deformed, mutated soon in the cosmic time, since we already found plastic in human placenta. It's not far. Story 58. Look at us go. Skeletons of metal intricately wired with organic material and breathing chemical oxidizer. Shitting on everything we know with no means of escape. Aliens go no thanks, bye. Story 59. The universe is fucking massive X100000000000000. The tribes in South America in the middle of the jungle is a massive place. They know of outsiders, to be fair. There is footage of them throwing spears at helicopters in the 80s, so they know someone else is out there. They just do not want you there. With that said, if anything was close to us in orbit, we could observe a signal, a light, or some sort of communication. What is more likely is that there are many civilizations out of our reach and sight that have evolved as well, many that we will never know most likely. Story 60. There's a YouTuber called Pursuit of Wonder, and he covered something similar to this in his video The Last Uncontacted Island. I'd definitely recommend giving it a watch because it's a pretty cool existential experience, but it's basically a story framed from the idea that we've been contacted tens of thousands of years ago, but because of our primitive lack of knowledge and natural violence, we scared off the extraterrestrial visitors, and we're only just now beginning to join the others. Story 61. The thing with the uncontacted tribes is more the other way around. They know more about us than we know about them. They are in contact with neighboring tribes, many of whom have been contacted, so they're aware of the wider world around them and they choose to be left alone. Story 62. That's a comforting thought. If we don't it up, there's a galactic community waiting for us. But life is rare. Planets need to form in that sweet spot that's not too hot and not too cold. Then you need some high-gravity giant planets to up the life-destroying asteroids that enter the solar system. And then, even with those giants, it took a freak asteroid hitting Earth to wipe out the dinosaurs and make room for mammals to evolve. And out of all the evolutionary traits amongst mammals, only 3 species evolved with what we would describe as intelligence, and only one of those species survived to build what we would call a civilization. That species has weathered disease and famine and hung on to this day. And after all that evolution or divine intervention or just plain luck, call it what you want, we're on the verge of wiping ourselves out because our big smart brains came up with planet-destroying weapons and greenhouse gases. The fact that we're smart enough to wipe ourselves out is proof that human intelligence is a beneficial survival trait. We're an accident of evolution, not evolution's ultimate target. As big as the universe is, I don't think it's reasonable to expect to find intelligent life similar to humans out there. It took countless miraculous events to get us to the point where we can fathom the existence of life on other planets, and the process of getting to where we are today allowed us to destroy ourselves. Story 63. My personal theory is that there is some yet to be discovered form of wireless long-range communication that functions similar to radio but is superior in every way, and so by trying to communicate with radio we are using this extremely inferior form of communication that other advanced civilizations aren't even looking for. It's like trying to pick up a message written with maritime flags with an FM receiver. Story 64. My buddy and I have the same theory. We need to figure out if we're going to be a society that lives in peace with one another that works towards a common goal, or are we going to be self-centered beings that run off dictatorships that works in our own self-interest. Our bet is that multiple races of aliens are watching and waiting to see which side we take so they can take us on their side. Story 65. So remember, when you're feeling very small and insecure, how amazingly unlikely is your birth, and pray that there's intelligent life somewhere up in space because there's all down here on Earth. Story 66. Look up the ending sequence of the original The Day the Earth Stood Still. The alien describes its society and expresses how he hopes humans one day reach a level where they are allowed to join. Most of the people in the scene are happy or neutral. There's triumphant music playing. The entire scene is obviously set up to make it seem like the interplanetary community is a utopia by human standards, and we can do it too if we try. Almost every comment acts like the aliens are evil monsters because in order to join them a prospective species has to give up the freedom to be violent. If there is any intelligent life out there, I hope for their safety, they either wall us off or dictatorially conquer Earth. Story 67. Well, according to the former Israeli space chief, aliens do exist and they've been in contact with Israel and the US government for decades. Apparently, they don't think humans are ready for the big reveal. Story 68. The zoo hypothesis of the Fermi paradox. The biggest knock against it is evident when you look at these primitive tribes. Inevitably someone always tries to reach out to make contact, even if it's limited. When it comes to a galaxy full of civilizations, all it would take is just one civilization or even one group inside a civilization that doesn't agree with keeping us in the dark to completely blow it for everyone. Story 69. I'm not gonna lie, I believe this is 100% the case. I believe the ancient astronaut theory fills in a lot of holes in our history and makes sense, and they'll return once we're a unified planet. We can't be an interplanetary species while we're still fighting over dumb and petty, most of which happened hundreds thousands of years ago. Story 70. This is one of my favorite of the hypothetical explanations to the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox has a list of various hypotheses as to why we have not encountered alien life yet. What's described here is known as the zoo hypothesis. Other theories include from the Wikipedia page: rarity of intelligent life, extraterrestrial life is rare or non-existent, extraterrestrial intelligence is rare or non-existent, periodic extinction by natural events, evolutionary explanations. It is the nature of intelligent life to destroy itself. It is the nature of intelligent life to destroy others. Intelligent alien species haven't developed advanced technology. Civilizations only broadcast detectable signals for a brief period of time. Alien life may be two alien sociological explanations. Colonization is not the cosmic norm. Alien species may have only settled part of the galaxy. Alien species may not live on planets. Alien species may isolate themselves from the outside world. Economic explanations: lack of resources needed to physically spread throughout the galaxy. It is cheaper to transfer information than explore physically. Discovery of extraterrestrial life is too difficult. We haven't listened properly. We haven't listened for long enough. Intelligent life may be too far away. Intelligent life may exist hidden from view. Willingness to communicate: everyone is listening, but no one is transmitting. Communication is dangerous. Earth is deliberately avoided. Earth is deliberately isolated. Planetarium hypothesis: alien life is already here, unacknowledged. Story 71. Then we should be very thankful that the rest of the universe is so civil. For some reason, I feel like humans would intrude on, and research to death, whatever new life we find in the universe. Story 72. It kinda makes sense. Look at what those tribes did to the Christian missionary, who ignored everyone telling him not to visit said tribes. Would imagine any aliens who defied instruction on visiting us ended up tabbed and slabbed in Area 51. Story 73. You would enjoy the David Weber book, Out of the Dark. It covers this idea briefly by describing how they came to look at us during our medieval days and were surprised by our violent tendencies. It gets interesting after that, but I don't want to give anything away. Story 74. Once contact is made, we just need to make sure the countries of Earth don't hide the spacebucks and nuke Finland. I mean, make sure Finland doesn't commit suicide. Story 75. They probably took one look at us and said these fucking animals kill each other over natural resources, and who they think is the right imaginary bearded dude in the sky. Story 76. Then aliens are dicks. For one thing, uncontacted tribes in South America don't have the potential to destroy the entire world. Secondly, if they're really so far advanced than us, they could show up, humble us with their amazing technology, and set us on the path to becoming an advanced civilization. By doing so, if we end up falling short and killing our only planet and everything on it, then it would prove our deficiency as a species, but you can't prove that we as humans when there is nothing for comparison. For all we know, it could be like Lovecraft's universe, and Earth is actually a beacon of light and hope in a universe full of murder, madness, and chaos. We just don't know. But if an alien species comes to us in peace, shows us the path to scientific enlightenment and a life where the average person is actually content and happy, and we fail to reach that, then we can be assured that the issue with humans is something fundamental, not our ignorance and fear, both being issues that are solvable. Story 77. I work with isolated Indians in Brazil. All the time, there are idiots trying to violate the government's curfew around those peoples. They remain isolated, in the most part, because they actively avoid those who try to contact them. If the same thing happened to us on a cosmic scale, you can bet we would have seen space hillbillies coming here with flying saucers to hunt, fish, mine, and talker photos of us. Story 78. I have a keen feeling it's because we're pieces of trash. Everywhere we go we leave disasters behind us. Speaking for myself though, I hate myself, so I believe aliens hate us even more. Story 79. I forget the name of it, but there's a theory saying just this, that we're so primitive and unintelligent that advanced alien civilizations just ignore us and only come to check on our progress and conduct experiments. Story 80. This is an hilarious concept, and if it was true, I wouldn't blame the aliens. We're a whole mess or drama, both racist and status-wise. They probably call Earth the ghetto LMFAO. Story 81. I'd like to think then we were like that tribe, the last uncontacted one, near India, and we've occasionally had alien missionaries visit and we murdered the out of them, and this is the real history behind Roswell. Story 82. When we contact those tribes they throw spears and try to attack us. It seems like it's the same for aliens contacting us. We're afraid so we attack, so they say it. Story 83. Earth provides a unique resource, human music and arts. If they make contact, we will of course want to see and hear their music and arts, which will inevitably affect our music and arts, and it won't be uniquely human anymore, for example. Story 84, and much like those uncontacted tribes will huck spears and arrows at passing aircraft. I'm positive we would huck nukes at passing alien spacecraft. Not surprised in the least that they don't want to visit the crazy monkeys with bombs. Story 85, what if we are already in contact with alien planets but we don't realize it, because we are not yet self-aware that we are just the cancerous cells destroying an ancient multi-organism ecosystem being planet Earth. Story 86, this Yanamon at 8 o'clock. It's everyone's favorite show, Earth. It's been 100 Jelganai since we first took species from 17 different planets and put them all together. On the same planet, Uderp, they fought and fallen in love. What will happen this Galgamog? Tune in Yanamon at 8 to find out. It's us, on Vogel. Story 87, best analogy I've ever heard is what if humans are like ants? There are 7 billion humans occupying Earth. Now compare that to one single colony of ants in one ant hill in the Amazon. If one ant came across a human, and were to survive the experience and make it back to the colony and explain that experience to his colony, would they believe him? Imagine the infinitely expanding and simultaneously imploding universe as we know it. How crazy would other life be if it were explained to us? Food for thought. Story 88, it's more like have those savages on Earth finally learned to move beyond monetary possessions and killing each other yet. I mean, Star Trek and its protocol certainly would paint humanity right now as being savage and unprepared for meeting any extraterrestrial life and any advanced technology.